Finally, hello, welcome
Hi,
to
everybody.
X-Oriente.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
lord.
We should have named the show Downgrade.
Yes, yes, indeed, we should have. We should have
Welcome
named
to
the show
episode 93, Downgrade.
Downgrade. Oh, so anybody who's on, I owe you.
God bless you,
God
one.
bless you.
Yeah.
We owe you a bit of an explanation. So,
Yeah.
um, the software that we use to do the show, we upgraded it, and it's nothing but bugs. Nothing but bugs. And so
Yeah.
after 2 days of troubleshooting, and the lovely German developers of this software telling us that it's a Facebook problem, it actually was the new version. So we've downgraded the version, and everything seems to be
Yeah,
fixed.
and it all works again.
It
Yeah.
all works.
Right. Lesson here, kids. Downgrade your software.
Downgrade. Do not upgrade.
Right. New features are dumb. That's amazing. It is unbelievable. Just so you guys know, for our watchers, listeners, my microphone was making the most obnoxious echoing, to the point where you really can't get more than a few words out before you start to get lost in your own voice. And so we dealt with that for a couple hours. I'll tell you, this is insane. This is nuts.
Yeah.
But it's great when the solution presents itself.
It all worked out in the end.
Right. And congratulations to Eric for figuring out to downgrade.
Sheer desperation. Sheer
pretty
desperation.
Great. It's pretty great. Well, how was your New Year, Eric?
It was good. It was a little mixed.
Okay.
I kind of screwed up my neck and broke a tooth almost at the same time. So on Tuesday I go in to have it extracted.
It's a hell of a cough.
Yeah. Going to have a tooth extracted and a bone graft put in, and well, they're gonna do like a fake tooth, so it'll be all good. It'll be all good in the end, but it's gonna be great because I'm gonna Tuesday I get it removed. Wednesday I give a big presentation.
Is it going to be noticeable?
Probably. It'll probably be swollen, and I'll be on Vicodin, and I'll be like, "Hey,
so here's
everybody!"
What you do. Right when you get into the presentation, I think you should start it with something like, "I changed the icons to cornflower blue."
Hello,
you like corn?
everybody.
That's a Fight Club reference for anybody out there. Sorry.
The
Yeah, I
first
think
rule.
that's awesome. Yeah, right. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
I spent my New Year's in Germany, where they
Yes.
make this terrible software. And it was great. It was fun. I'll tell you, we were in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I've been to Germany or Berlin, for that matter. And it was fantastic. It was really, really, really fun. The biggest piece of culture shock there is New Year's in Germany. So they're crazy people. I mean, nuts, legitimately crazy. They light off so many fireworks to be very dangerous. Like, I thought, if a terrorist had launched a Scud missile in Berlin at 12:05, no one had noticed. Everyone would have been like, "Wow, that guy's got good stuff."
Well, you got to figure that's probably their big fireworks holiday, right?
It is, and they go nuts. Like, and I'm not kidding. So, like, people just walking down the street throwing M80s, big fireworks, not like, "Hey, we got a sparkler," And I'm talking like can take fingers off.
Like major
And
explosives.
Everybody has them. There was a guy in front of our hotel who literally had one of those mortar things on the sidewalk. Just set up his little mortar thing and thump, and was shooting off these things. I mean, they were huge, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You're lit!" Like, he was literally in the middle of Berlin. It was eye opening, let me tell you. So that was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we had a good time. It was really, really cool.
Did you visit? Were you able to visit any lodges while you were there?
No, I did not. And part of that was planned. I was going to. I've met and had the opportunity to talk a bunch actually with the Grand Master of the. I can't remember what they're called. The United Grand Lodge of Germany. Is that what they're called? Something like that. So Germany is an odd duck. So they've got they have a bunch of jurisdictions, and each of the jurisdictions have a Grand Master, and then all of Germany has a. And I think he's appointed Grand Master for all of Germany, and he's basically just a figurehead. He goes and he travels around the world, and goes to all of these like the World Conference and things like that.
And who appoints him?
I think the other Grand Masters.
Oh,
it's something weird, and I'm pretty sure I'm screwing that up. And so, anybody out there that's familiar with German Freemasonry, just feel free to correct me, because but I do know that it's really complex. At any rate, the current Grand Master of Germany, really nice guy. He came not this December, but last December to DC for our installation. And then I again ran into him at the conference Grand Masters and actually sat and drank with him for a good long time. He and the Grand Master of Belgium, who's a character as well. But I was going to call him, and then I thought, I really want to bug anybody because we left Christmas Eve and came back on New Year's Day, and I thought, let people enjoy themselves, and I've got enough to see. So no, I didn't get to do anything. Although if we are planning to go back into that general neighborhood to do Bavaria down to the south, and if we do that, you will not be able to keep me away from lodges in Bavaria.
Oh, so when are you going to do that?
We don't know yet. We're still working out the details on that. So it's that, and then for Kristen's got a big birthday coming up, and it's a milestone birthday, and so she wanted to go to Africa and do a safari. To live out her bucket list goal is to hug a baby elephant. So we're going to do that, but
I could always put on a trunk.
Right. I think she'd appreciate that. That's nice, Eric. I'll tell her. She's now hedged that a little bit and said, I'm really feeling Japan. So some might do that. And a very, very good friend of mine, Paul Nadeau, who's actually the guy who brought me into Masonry, is living in Tokyo with his wife right now.
They have a nice lodge there.
Yeah, they do.
That lodge building
really
is
cool.
Really cool.
It's really cool.
And it transforms into a truck.
which is the most Japanese thing of all Japanese things.
Of course.
Unless that truck kills Godzilla, then that's the most Japanese thing of all Japanese things. So yeah, at any rate, so that's, we had lots of travel, and so it was kind of fun.
Yeah. So I traveled a ton right after New Year's.
Right.
So yeah, I went to CES, which was interesting because I'd never been to Las Vegas before.
Really?
And, yeah, never.
It sucks, doesn't
it? How did I get to 53 years and never been to Las Vegas?
Well, I wouldn't have gone either. When I worked at the airline, I went, actually, oddly enough, I went for my birthday. So my birthday's on Friday. You guys can send gifts, really anywhere. I appreciate that. But it's on Friday. But so what, just 10 years ago, right? No. Oh man, I'm old. This will be 17 years ago on Friday. I went to Vegas on a whim because I had to work in the afternoon, and sitting at work, and my boss came over to me and was like, "What are you doing for your birthday tonight?" And I was like, "Probably go to a bar." And she went, "Let's go to Vegas." I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "We work for an airline, you idiot. We'll take the red eye over, and then we'll come back, on Sunday." And I was like, "All right, great, let's do it." And we did, and it's terrible. Vegas is awful. Sorry.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed. Now, part of it is probably because I went there during CES, which is, you have to imagine.
I would have thought that was fun. Yeah.
Well, but
I mean, crazy time.
Yeah, it is. But imagine for a second that Washington D.C. like 1 million people just descend on Washington all at the same time.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
Right. And so you can't get a decent restaurant table anywhere, right? Because without reservations, a month in advance, and
right.
Forget about any shows or anything like that, because there's so many people there, and then anybody who's been following CES, they had a power outage, and
oh, that's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, mayhem ensued. It was kind of crazy, but anyway, so I did that, and then I came home, essentially, did some laundry, and then went right back out to South Korea and spent a week out there. So that's why we haven't resumed the show until now, and then technical difficulties. Anyway, we're back.
Yay!
And we're gonna we're going for it. We're gonna hopefully there won't be any more interruptions. Masonic Week
coming up.
It's coming up. I'm going to be out there. By the way, yesterday you had tickets to WrestleMania, and I was practicing masonry.
Yeah, I heard
as a guest on the Masonic Roundtable, which was quite awesome.
Yeah, those guys are wonderful.
They are. They really buttered me up too. So I'm all buttery now. So that's
good.
Yeah,
good. That's nice.
But I'm going to be out there. I'll be touching down Wednesday early afternoon and leaving on Sunday. And one of the things that we're going to try to do this time around is we're going to have a lot of Masonic podcasters out there. So I'm bringing a big bag of equipment, and we're going to try to do some podcasts. So if you want to kind of follow events, we'll be posting pretty frequently to Facebook just as to what's going on, because we don't really know yet. We don't know what the bandwidth situation is there. We don't know if we'll be able to, do Facebook Live, or we're just going to, we'll record and upload. We're going to try to do some crossovers. So last night we talked on the Masonic Roundtable about the Pardes method. I urge you to go listen to the episode. It was a lot of fun. But one of the things that we talked about after the show was the idea that we might go and actually do some Pardes analysis, exegesis of some Masonic symbolism, and some, possibly a lecture or an oration or something like that. And that could be really, really cool. So we're going to do that. If you're going to be out in Masonic Week, drop me a line at X-Oriente@gmail.com and let me know, and we'll try to make sure that we cross paths. And so that's about it for Masonic Week. It should be a good times.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, for those of you guys that can't be there for the actual events, hopefully the podcast that we do from there will at least give you a little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
On what it's like.
Yeah.
Although it'll be in Eric's suite and not at Shelley's, which is,
well, let's see. Maybe we can do kind of a, man on the street kind of thing down where the action's happening. And
it's true.
If we're able to do some, we can do maybe some brief Facebook Live stuff. Yeah, and,
sure.
So one of the things that I'd like to see happen with Masonic Week, because one of the things that's interesting about Masonic Week is that it's dwindling a little bit in its attendance, and part of that is because the Masonic Rosicrucians, which is a big part of Masonic Week, has since moved. I think they now do their conference. What is it? I think maybe, is it August, September? I don't know.
Sure.
But they moved to Kentucky. They moved to Louisville. And so, there are a lot of guys who go to that and they just can't do 2 trips. So they, so some people have been choosing. So anyway, one of the things that I would like to see happen with Masonic Week is I'd like to see it more accessible to people who aren't in the invitational bodies that that are the reason that Masonic Week exists. And one of the things that so the first couple of years I've been going since about 2003, I think was my first year there. So it's been, it's been over, going on 15 years now.
Yeah.
But the first couple of years I was there, I attended a lot of the events, and to be honest, most of them are just business meetings. It's just like, you get like the AMD Grand Council will meet and they'll, here's the report of the treasurer and here's the report of the secretary. And we had this many people die and this many people join. And then they elect a new line of officers and they install them. And that's really about it. So it's not the most exciting thing in the world. It's sort of a necessary thing for the people who are running those organizations and who want to attend the meeting. Now, there are some really kind of interesting side degrees. There's the Order of Ethelstan. There's the Scarlet Cord. They confer some of the more obscure orders, like the Order of the Masonic Order of the Bath, and some of the other kind of side degree type things. But having done all that 12 years ago, I don't really go to very many of the events. There are a couple that I go to. I will actually be speaking at the Masonic Society banquet. That'll be Friday night. I would say check at the Masonic Society about tickets if you'd like to go. If you're going to be at Masonic Week, you'll probably be able to get a ticket when you get there. The Masonic Society almost always has like a table in the sort of the table area, and so you'll be able to get a ticket. And I'm hoping that the speech is going to be a bit of a,
it's a bit of a grenade.
Bit of a grenade. Yeah, should be interesting. Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. There will be pants lit on fire. It's going to be a good time.
I hope so.
And for those of you guys that are like me, I'm not a member of any of those things. I started going as an intern when I was at the Scottish Rite in 2005, and quickly went, no, I don't want to do anything. I just want to hang out in the lobby and talk to people.
I remember when you were an intern.
Yeah. And like, I just wanted to hang out and have fun with people and drink beer. Pretty much, I haven't changed at all. I haven't grown up in any way, shape, or form since then. So, even if you're not a member of any of those invitational bodies, you don't have to, as I've trademarked, sit through the weaponized boredom. So
yeah, that's true.
You can still come and sit in the lobby and like, there really aren't very many places that you can go and really easily rub elbows with the lights in Masonry.
Yeah.
Brent Morris is there, Art de Hoyos is there, Rex Hutchins, the list goes on and on. And so like, it's wonderful. You get to hang out with these people that have read and done so much more. And it's just a heck of a lot of fun to talk to those guys.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is you're going to get a flavor, a little bit of a flavor of it, from the stuff that we'll do. And we'll obviously we'll podcast from Eric's suite. We'll do fun crossover things where we'll all talk and things like it. It'll be great. We might do some Shelley stuff, but here's the thing is that what you're seeing is just, it's just a small part of it, because the good stuff that we talk about, you can't talk about on a podcast. And so and really, you just get into these really, really good conversations, whether they be deep esoteric stuff, or whether it be the direction the craft is going, but in a very frank manner. It's great, and it's super fun, and it's a really lovely place to sit down with people that are smarter than you. And I always appreciate doing that. So it's
yeah. And I regularly, I mean, I've said for many years, it's the highlight of my Masonic year.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really nice about it is that you expand your view of Masonry. So if you're the type of person who, you haven't ventured beyond your lodge or really beyond your district, maybe visited a few sister lodges, like kind of around the hood. This is an opportunity to really meet different sorts of Masons from all over the place.
Yeah.
In fact, it's international because there's
Sure.
a huge contingent that comes in from the UK and just being able to talk to guys who are Masons in Oklahoma and New Mexico and California and
100%.
and then also get to meet people like Sean Iyer, who's the editor of the Philadelphia Society, and talk to those guys and get some really interesting perspective. And then there are just a couple of organizations that you can join without having to be a member of the AMD. So, for example, the Grand College of Rights is a really interesting one. So for those who don't know, the Grand College of Rights was established to act as a holding bin for Masonic degrees and systems that are considered no longer workable. So, for example, the rites of Memphis Mizraim, and most of what these were kind of like degree mill, degrees for hire kind of thing. So, you pay your money, and they became scams. And so this is a way to sort of protect Masonry. So what they would do is the various Grand Lodges would sort of invest the Grand College of Rights with the authority to control those degrees so that they could not be worked within their jurisdictions. And so but what's interesting about the Grand College of Rights is that every year they put together a collection of obscure degrees or parts of a degree system, and they publish it as something called Collectanea. And your membership, which I think is pretty moderate, I think it's like $25 a year, something like that. Nothing. You get a copy of that, and that's super cool.
And Collectanea is really cool. Collectanea, for the most part, is almost all done by Art de Hoyos.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think anybody else helps. I think somebody might typeset it for him, but that's it. I think he writes the whole kit and caboodle, which is, and puts it all together. And there is no other person on the planet that is a better ritual expert than him. And his Collectanea is worth it. It's worth $25.
Yeah, totally.
It's amazing.
So
that's cool.
Yeah,
so it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so let's get to the point, Eric.
Yeah.
What's your resolution for this new year?
So we wanted to talk about Masonic New Year's resolutions.
There you go.
And here's in sort of preparation for this show, a few weeks ago, when it was a little bit closer to New Year's, there was a really interesting article in the New York Times about sort of the science of New Year's resolutions. And what they said was that, one of the problems with New Year's resolutions is the fact that you actually do a resolution kind of in some ways sets you up for failure. Right? So like the idea that, if I say my New Year's resolution is to lose weight, right? That already sets you up as you're sort of in a deficit position, right? And so you're going to have to make this change in your lifestyle, or start doing something or stop doing something that is already kind of in a way setting you up to fail, especially if these are resolutions that you kind of make time and time again. So what they said is the better way to sort of handle resolutions is to basically kind of change your relationship with the thing that you're trying to resolve to, and just make small changes over the course of the year, as opposed to one big change.
Yeah.
right?
All right. Okay. So, all right. I'll give a good example of that. And so last year, my New Year's resolution was to quit smoking, and so I did that. But I did it incrementally. I took up vaping, which is just dumb and awful. But hey, it's not smoking. And so, and maybe next year I'll give that up, but not this year. Um, so, so I don't know. Now, how do you apply that to masonry, though? So,
Well,
how would you make a Masonic resolution?
so I mean, I can tell you, I have one, and
Okay.
my Masonic resolution is to
To pay your
make.
dues. Good job.
Well, actually, I'm lucky. Well, no, actually, I do pay dues in two of my three lodges. I'm a
Okay.
life member in one,
Okay.
in my mother lodge. But uh, my New Year's resolution is, well, actually, I have a couple, but my first one is to go to lodge more, and that is a little bit more challenging than it sounds like for me, because my main client is in Korea, and my day normally is shifted anyway. So like I normally start work between 10 and 10:30 in the morning and leave between 6:30 and 7:30 at night, on a normal day. And then we happen to, the night that my lodge meets, we happen to have our client call, which can go sometimes 2 hours, right? So by the time I'm done with that call, we've pretty much conducted business, and are either closing or getting into the degree,
Right.
and so, often what I would do is just kind of go out to the bar afterward and just meet up with some of the guys and say, hello, and show my face. But I really miss being in lodge. I really miss being in that space, opening lodge, creating that sort of, I don't even know what you call it, that sort of magical place, that sort of
Sure.
sacred space, and kind of being in that, and enjoying that ritual, and attending to the degrees and stuff like that. So, so my resolution is to find ways to make time for that. So, maybe it's, trying to conduct some of that business on other days, trying to reduce the length of the calls, maybe try to delegate some of that responsibility to other people. Maybe I could go open lodge, duck out of lodge, and take the call if I need to do that, and then go back in.
Mm-hmm.
So, my first resolution is to find a way. I don't know how I'll figure it out, but I need to sort of make the commitment to try and figure that out. The other thing is that my lodge does a lot of sort of social events. We do a lot of like outings and stuff like that I don't normally attend, just because I A, live in the suburbs, and B, have, family obligations and stuff like that. That's kind of lessening now that my kid's getting older. And I would really like to do a little bit more of that, because I like spending time with those guys. So, so I want that's one of them. And then another resolution that I had, that I'm actually going to fulfill, is I had resolved a couple years ago, and never got around to it, to getting myself a traveling past master's apron.
Oh, fun.
Right. Cause I do travel, sure. and so when I was in London back in, when was it? October. No, it was end of August, I think, or September, beginning of September. So when I was there, I went and visited the Freemasons Hall on Great Queen Street, and I went to the museum. And what I saw in the museum was really interesting. There were these little apron cases, right? They were about, I don't know, the size of a trade paperback book. So maybe, just see if I can, maybe like that big.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And what guys would do is they would have their apron, and they would fold it into thirds, and then fold it into thirds again. And so what you'd wind up with is kind of a creased apron, but it was in this like really, really nice compact package that you could throw into a bag and, kind of carry around with you.
So in other words, what you discovered was the little grocery bag that you jam into a ball into itself, but the apron version.
It's more like I'm trying to think of like what the equivalent would be. It's small, right? But it's not. There's no jamming involved, right?
Well, that's good,
right?
That's a start.
It folds neatly.
Right.
And typically these were leather cases embossed with the brother's name on it, and they just don't make them anymore. They've just stopped making them.
Right.
And so I thought, I was looking in the museum, and actually they had, my hero is, I'm a great admirer of Winston Churchill, or I should say brother Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
And they had his apron there, which incidentally he'd never paid for. Isn't that interesting? I was he died with that debt. But
I'm sure he could afford it.
Yeah. I'll pay it eventually, but right now I
have to pay you Tuesday for an apron today.
I have a war to fight, right.
Yeah. Right. He had other things on his mind.
He had things to do. But I did get to see it, and I thought to myself, oh, this is great. I got to get myself one of these. Mm-hmm. And so I went down to the gift shop, and no, they're back to the, the big portfolio cases that we have. Sure. And then they did have a folding one, but it only folded into like thirds or a half or something like that. And it was like, and it was kind of cheap and not cool and just real kind of like loosey goosey. And I just thought, this is never going to go into a carry-on, so.
Yeah. Right.
So what I did was I contacted my good friend of the show, Patrick Craddock of the Master's Apron.
That guy's handy.
Sorry, the Craftsman's Apron. The
Craftsman's Apron. And that guy's handy. He can make up some stuff.
He's amazing. We're going to have him on the show at some point soon. He's been busy kind of traveling around the country. He does a lot of aprons and stuff for like grand lodges and lodges and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did the he did the new aprons and jewels for Federal Lodge number 1 here.
Oh, those are beautiful. I saw those.
Yeah. Yeah. They are something else. Federal Lodge here was their first master was James Hoban, who's the architect of the White House. And so on their apron they have an elevation of the White House that James Hoban had drawn. It's breathtaking. The work he did is breathtaking.
So is it true that they have this like this apron, and then they have their jewel, and then they have a big foam number 1 hand that they use?
Right, they do. We're number 1.
Yeah, they all process in there.
Yeah. There's some controversy because it's we are old enough that there are spotty records going back that far.
No.
And so there's controversy because there was a lodge in Maryland previous to DC existing, and we didn't exist until 1790, actually 1791. But there was a lodge in Maryland. I think it was Lodge number 5 in Maryland or 15 in Maryland, and they're much older. I mean, they go back to 1780 something, and
they were kind of in the area that became Washington. Is that
right? That's exactly right. And Georgetown was part of Maryland, and so what Federal was, I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but they were a Maryland lodge, and they actually became Federal Lodge number 1 in 1811 when the Grand Lodge of DC started. At any rate, the important thing is that they've had their charter since 1790, the same charter, period. Now, Potomac Lodge number 5 claims to be older, but there's a gap of a couple years where it's likely that the originating lodge it it disbanded. Basically, all the members from one lodge became another lodge, and so there's not a straight line from one lodge becomes Potomac Lodge number 5. So there's great consternation between the two lodges on who's oldest.
We had Zerubbabel as a member.
Right. Well, Federal always wins because they go, hey, look at the date on this. Look at the date on this. It's pretty fun.
So Patrick's making me a pretty amazing apron. One of the things that he does, which is really cool, is he does hand-painted aprons. He will be, by the way, at Masonic Week. He usually has a table.
He's a nice table, and he does bow ties, and he does cufflinks and rings. The guy is stupid talented.
Oh yeah, in fact, do I have it here? Yeah, here. Check this out. My mother lodge, Oriental Lodge, number 33 in Chicago, commissioned Brother Craddock to make us a brand new swanky lodge tie. This is the lodge tie of Oriental Lodge. It's got 3 gold stripes and
that's nice.
Light blue. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. So I am completely chuffed, as the British say.
That is a nice tie.
Yeah. So he'll do like custom stuff like that, and I can't say enough good things about him. He's an awesome dude.
And if you mention our names, he'll give you a 50% discount.
I just got expelled from his Grand Lodge.
Just tell him we sent you.
Jason sent you. Yeah.
No, he'll understand.
But yeah. So I'll put a link to his site in the show notes. But
that's a great idea.
He's not the well, there's nothing cheap about what he does.
No, you can have it fast.
In terms of quality,
you can have it fast, you can have it right, or you can have it cheap. Pick 2 of the 3.
Yeah. So, but his work is really great, and so he does hand painted aprons, and so that's what I'm going to get, because I can then fold that up, and then I went on to eBay and found an old mini case of exactly the sort that I want, which has somebody's.
Awesome.
Yeah, somebody's name. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's embossed with somebody else's name, with Oswald Lodge. I think not like number 1045 or something like that.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So I'm looking forward to it.
That's way cool. That's excellent. That's good. That's good resolution. My only resolution is much like your first, and that's to go more. And my excuse is different than yours. As most of you know, I'm employed by Masonry, and so I do my Masonry for a living. And at the end of the day, as I walk out of the office, the last thing I want to do is go to lodge. And so consequently, I just don't go much. And the lodge that I helped start is going like gangbusters on its own, and they don't need a grumpy past master harumping from the sidelines like me. So when I go to that, and they meet, 9 times a year, or 8 times a year, and when I go to those meetings, I typically will come after they've opened, sit down, be there for a little bit, and then go and meet the guys afterwards. But I've resolved I need to do more. I need to be out in the jurisdiction more. I need to be, out enjoying myself. I think I've gone too far away from lodge, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah. So there's two more resolutions that I have.
Good Lord, man.
I know.
You're supposed to do one that you keep.
I'm very ambitious. Well, if I keep half of them.
Okay, well, fair enough.
I'll be happy. But so the other one is I want to do more teaching, like, right, and Masonic study.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've long promised our executive producers is exclusive content. So I'm going to be redoubling my efforts to get some of that out. And in fact, the first thing that's going to be exclusive to the executive producers is the speech that I'm giving for the Masonic Society.
You guys are lucky. It's so good.
If they if they allow me to record it, I'll record it. If they don't want me to, I'll respect that. But then I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Right. You know, for the webcam, and that'll be available on Patreon exclusively for the executive producers.
It's so worth it.
And yeah, and
it's so worth it. It's great.
And then we'll start. You know, one of the things I'd like to do is, you know, some more esoteric types of study and stuff like that. But I think that right now, our show has more of a mission, an urgent mission. And after you hear the speech, you'll kind of understand a little bit more about where I think this whole thing that we're doing needs to go. And so I feel like we need to kind of move that agenda is too strong a word, but, you know, start to build a sense of social purpose in Masonry. I think that that's really important. I've seen it more and more where I talk to people who are, you know, they like the idea of Masonry, but it's, you know, it's there's still like this sort of like for a lot of the kinds of men that I think should be Masons, it's still a kind of a bit of a tough sell as to why should I want to do this. And one of the things that I've kind of come to realize is that for a lot of people who come to Masonry, they come to Masonry because their friends are in it. Right. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
Yeah, not at all.
But you tend to get a kind of, there's like an effect, there's like a bias effect of homogeneous, you know, like a self-selecting bias kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And I think we need more diversity, more voices, and not, I don't mean diverse. I mean, here's the thing. Racial diversity is always a good thing. Ethnic diversity is always a good thing. We definitely need more of that, I think. But what I'm thinking about is sort of diversity of points of view, diversity of outlook, intellectual diversity. Right. I think we need more of that in Masonry. So I want to see if, you know, maybe we can explore ways on the show and have a dialogue more about that, about how do we, you know, not necessarily recruit, because we don't want to do that, right? That's a Masonic no-no, right? We don't recruit, but attract, right? Attract, because it really is. There's a lot of really interesting intellectual material, and I'm amazed, constantly amazed, at how much actual study is done by brothers all over the place. But that stuff never really surfaces. That's something that is, it's not really done on the down low, but it's just not something that really comes up as to, well, what do you guys do as Masons? You know, well, we have meetings, we put on degrees, you know, but the part about esoteric study and, you know, social study,
because it's, you know, because I think that stuff is so intensely personal if it's done correctly, you know?
Yeah.
That's why it's a little difficult, but I totally understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
So
it's a good one.
So that's that's my other main resolution is to get some more exclusive content up on the web, and then help, you know, and one of the things I'd like to do, and I've actually talked, so I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the show, but I'm on the board of directors of the Masonic Society. And for those who don't know, the Masonic Society was founded at a time when the Philalethes Society was having some issues, some sort of problems, you know, trying to be delicate here, but sort of some political issues, you know, like there were a couple guys who were running the show that were making other Masons upset, advocating some positions that were not particularly regular, as I understand it. I wasn't real close to that, so I don't really know the details. But the Masonic Society was founded as an alternative, a scholarly alternative to Philalethes Society, should the Philalethes Society, you know, shuffle off this mortal coil. As it happened, the Philadelphia Society kind of cleaned house. They got Sean Iyer, who's an amazing scholar, and all around great guy. And so they're kind of going like gangbusters. And by the way, that's another shameless plug on behalf of somebody else. But if you really want an excellent Masonic magazine to read on a what do they do, monthly, quarterly on a quarterly basis, then by all means join the Philadelphia Society, because that journal is very high standards, very interesting stuff, really, really amazing stuff. And so they kind of got their act together. So now, now the Masonic Society, I think is in a position where, we're trying to figure out, what are we, and what, where are we going? What's going to happen? And here's the thing, the Masonic Society, it is also a really high quality organization. I just received several back issues in the mail the last couple of days. I've read through them and was kind of pleasantly. So here's the thing: I was pleasantly surprised when the journal first started. They, there wasn't a lot of people writing for it, and so I think that there was for a little while there was a bit of it was good content, but not great content. Well, the last 4 issues that I've read, it was really great stuff. It was really interesting, really, really good to read. And so one of the things that I would like to do, and I don't know if this would be done through the Masonic Society or through some other means, but I always thought it would be really cool to have a virtual Masonic symposium.
Yeah, right.
Right. So
we talked about that.
Yeah. So there's some really interesting Masonic symposia that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple in Europe. There's a few here. The Masonic Society did a really nice one in Lexington. I know the Rose Circle, they're like an esoteric group. They do one.
Yep. They just did one at the Masonic Memorial a few months ago. That was really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And those are great if you can go, right? Mm-hmm. But not everybody can go. And so I would like to see us be able to put something on kind of like almost like a TED. Mm-hmm. And so kind of instead of having people come to the symposium, have the symposium come to them. And I think now the tech, with Facebook Live and YouTube live streaming and,
Memo downgrade.
Yeah. Memo downgrades.
It's fantastic.
The technology's there that it's very doable. So that's something I would like to try to see if we can put together in 2018. I think that would be a really cool thing.
These are all laudable pursuits.
Thanks. And no Knights of the North. I didn't even need to like tap those guys. Anyway, so do you have any other New Year's resolutions that are unmasonic?
No. You know what?
I don't mean unmasonic. I mean non-masonic.
Right, non-masonic. No, I really don't. After we got back, I went, you go blinding speed into things. After you're gone for a week, your work piles up, and I honestly haven't even had a chance to catch my breath for the most part, but I will say that I wanted to live healthier this year.
Uh-huh.
We'll see. I just don't have a lot of time for that. I was like, I'll learn to cook. I'll do something good. Yeah, I'm not gonna probably do that. It's beyond my ken. I live in downtown DC. I live in the middle of everything.
You live in like the swankiest apartment building in the country, I think.
It's pretty nice. It is pretty good. It's nice to have a wife that does well. And so, it's swanky and it's crazy. And but I've got, restaurants a go-go around me. And so it's very difficult to come home at night and go, I'm so tired, but maybe I'll make fill in the blank no, I'm just going to walk out my front door and I'm going to go to an incredible Mediterranean restaurant and I'm going to cow out on a bowl full of Mediterranean food.
All right. So after the show, I have something that for you that
Yeah,
you
nice.
might be into.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah. So
yeah. So I thought about it, and in 2 days, it's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Thursday. 2 days, I turn 44, and this year, I got a couple of gifts for being 44. One was that my reading vision failed me. now, now I have, and now I have progressive lenses coming my way in the mail.
in the mail?
Uh huh.
Wow.
I went to, yeah. There's an awesome website that I found that is just dirty cheap for glasses, and they're really nice because we've had this conversation. I don't think we've had it on the air, but we've had the conversation that all eyeglasses are it's basically a monopoly, and they're all the same brand in Austria.
Yeah,
And
Luxottica is the company.
Luxottica
Yeah.
owns basically everything, any brand of glasses, Oakley.
Not quite, but almost.
Oh, it's got to be close to 80% of brands. And they keep the prices ridiculously high. And so you can find these places that are, you can get really good quality glasses for dirt cheap. And so I did
So
that. So they're coming in the mail.
So I'll just give you a warning, and people who wear progressives may already know this. But one of the things about progressives is that there's like a little sweet spot that you have to actually measure it very precisely to your pupil. Otherwise, your vision goes completely nutso. Because the idea of progressives is that it's how you look through the glasses that determines what's going to be in focus. Right. So instead of in other words, you don't tilt your head down to read, you just look down to read. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas with a bifocal, right. So you have to get those measured in a very precise way. Otherwise it doesn't work out so well. So I hope it works out for you, but if it doesn't, then you may have to have them remade.
God bless them. Well, hey, 14 days. I have 14 days to send them back. So
there you go.
Yeah. And I did get my pupils and everything measured. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then you should be good.
Yeah. I got a good prescription, but so I was gifted a bad sight and 20 pounds. So this year, so having to rebuy suits and things like that, super fun. Yay age. Yeah. So this year is going to be about semi-clean living.
Aging gracefully.
Right. Exactly. It's just depressing. Really depressing. But I'm going to start it off with a bang. The Masters and Wardens Association here in DC is having their year-end deal where they're going to give out a couple of awards to folks and lodges, and then they're going to elect the new officers for next year, and they're going to do that on Friday. And and I scored a ticket to that, even though I am neither master nor warden. I scored a ticket to that, and it's at a swanky bowling alley in Georgetown, and so
nice.
they're having So they're going to have bowling, drinks, food, and indoor bocce. And so really that kind of ticks all the boxes for me. So as long as I can, throw down old fashions and bowl.
That's interesting because we have one of those here in my neck of the woods, only instead of masonry, we have bar mitzvahs there. Endless bar mitzvahs.
That's fantastic.
That's
great.
It's like a bar mitzvah buffet. It's like all you can eat,
Right. All the 11-year-olds you can handle. That's fantastic. That's really great.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, so this is sort of our first our first outing into the year. So that it hasn't, we're not doing a real serious Masonic topic.
No.
We just wanted to check in with you guys and talk about
and broadcast.
And broadcast. Hey, you know what? I've got so here's the thing. Let's end the show. I've got a Masonic resolution for us.
Done. Sold.
My resolution, my proposed resolution, and I will bring this up for an X-Oriente vote, provided it is seconded, is that we have more guests on the show.
Well, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
All in favor. There it is. Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. It's a great idea. I like it.
Cool.
I get lots.
All right. Well, listen, for those who are in the, by the way, was there anybody in the,
there were some people in there. We got some good stuff in there. I'm trying to see. The problem is that while this goes, it hides things as it goes up, and you can't get at it while we're broadcasting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can only see like 5 comments at a time.
That's a drag.
Yeah, it really is.
Wait, let me see if I can.
Mike says quit using Windows 95. Good suggestion.
Yeah, get a Mac.
Also, right. No. But, the weird thing is that 95 was probably the last stable version of that operating system. So, Mike, we're going to go backwards. Well, or NT. Could use that. And that's it. And then Diego was talking about, we were talking about the Transformer Tokyo Lodge, which is really cool. You know that, is it Hirohito?
Diego Redondo?
Yeah.
Oh, love that guy. Can I tell you something about him? Do you know, did I ever tell you about this guy?
No.
So Diego and I went to high school together.
Ah, look at that.
And he he was my lab partner in anatomy. He single-handedly got me through anatomy.
Really?
Because I was too squeamish to.
Really?
So we had to dissect a cat, and
awesome.
I was totally squeamish and like.
By the way, kids, if you dissect a cat at home, that's unacceptable and a red flag. But if you do it in high school, it's fine.
You know what? They don't even do that anymore. It's all
really?
digital now. They dissect the cat robot.
Vivisection. It's never good.
It's smelly, but he so his dad was my pediatrician.
Okay.
And he and his dad used to go hunting, and so he knew how to skin an animal, and he made quick work of that, and because of that I was able to continue. Otherwise I would have been like, I got to drop the course, guys,
That's so fantastic.
He saved me. He saved my academic career, and I owe everything to him. And he's an all-around great guy. So
that is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's good. All right. Well, thanks, Diego. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking. So but that's it. No, I was going to say about his comment though. He said, is it more than meets the eye? And yes, it is. So that the Tokyo Masonic Center. They have a room in it. Actually, that is the building where Yamamoto planned Pearl Harbor, and they actually still have the table on which he laid out the plans for Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool. Hey.
Yeah.
And so you can actually go into that room and it's pretty powerful stuff. So.
Wow. Mm-hmm. But the thing about that building that I love is that it's really the first and only truly modern, like in architectural style and things like that, lodge room that I've ever seen. I mean, like super I mean, most lodge rooms they're either ancient or they're made to look ancient, and I like that, but this one is like super clean and modern and minimalist and beautiful, and it's got that real Japanese sort of sensibility.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so if you ever get to visit, it's definitely a worth a thing. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right. Well, anyway, thanks very much for joining us today.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for bearing with our awesome technical problems.
And thank you. We had a couple of new executive producers who came online. I'm going to be taking care of that, all that stuff this weekend, and your name will be added to the credits, and we will announce you on the air. But until that point, just thank you, and thank you to all the executive producers. Without your support, this show would not be possible, and all the stuff that we're trying to, all the resolutions that we're having would not be possible. If you'd like to support the show and become an executive producer, please visit our Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/X-Oriente. And sponsor us, or and we want to know what you think. So if there's something that you want us to do on the show, if there's something you disagree with, if there's something you really like, drop us a line at xoriente@gmail.com, or leave a comment on our Facebook page. You could also visit our blog at xoriente.com. We want to hear from you. The original purpose of this show, when we started it, so many years ago, was to foster a dialogue of the kind of things that we, couldn't or weren't talking about in Lodge. So we want to hear your voice. We want to hear from you. So let us know what's on your mind, Masonically speaking. And that's all I got. Anything else?
No, I got nothing.
Cool. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Fiat Vox.
See you soon.
All right.